Tourism is travel for pleasure or business. Also the theory and practice of touring. The business of attracting, accommodating, and entertaining tourists, and the business of operating tours. The World Tourism Organization defines tourism more generally, in terms which go beyond the common perception of tourism as being limited to holiday activity only, as people traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure and not less than 24 hours, business and other purposes. Tourism can be domestic or international, and international tourism has both incoming and outgoing implications on a country's balance of payments. Tourism numbers declined as a result of a strong economic slowdown between the second half of 2008 and the end of 2009, and in consequence of the outbreak of the 2009 H1N1 influenza virus, but slowly recovered until the COVID-19 pandemic put an abrupt end to the growth. The United Nations World Tourism Organization estimated that global international tourist arrivals might decrease by 58% to 78% in 2020, leading to a potential loss of 90 United States cents minus $1.2 trillion in international tourism receipts. Globally, international tourism receipts grew to $1.03 trillion United States dollars in 2005. Corresponding to an increase in real terms of 3.8% from 2010. International tourist arrivals surpassed the milestone of 1 billion tourists globally for the first time in 2012. Emerging source markets such as China, Russia, and Brazil had significantly increased their spending over the previous decade. Global tourism accounts for c. 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, as well as other significant environmental and social impacts that are not always beneficial to local communities and their economies. For this reason, many tourist development organizations are beginning to focus on sustainable tourism in order to mitigate negative effects caused by the growing impact of tourism. The United Nations World Tourism Organization emphasized these practices by promoting tourism as part of the Sustainable Development Goals, through programs like the International Year for Sustainable Tourism for Development in 2017, and programs like Tourism for SDGs focusing on how 8 Sudanese pounds, 12 Sudanese pounds and 14 Sudanese pounds implicate tourism in creating a sustainable economy. The word tourist was used in 1772 and tourism in 1811. It is formed from the word tour, which is derived from Old English tourion, from Old French tourner, from Latin tournere, to turn on a lathe, which is itself from ancient Greek tornos, lathe. In 1936, the League of Nations defined a foreign tourist as someone traveling abroad for at least 24 hours. Its successor, the United Nations, amended this definition in 1945 by including a maximum stay of 6 months. In 1941, Hunziker and Kraft defined tourism as the sum of the phenomena and relationships arising from the travel and stay of non-residents, insofar as they do not lead to permanent residence and are not connected with any earning activity. In 1976, the Tourism Society of England's definition was, tourism is the temporary, short-term movement of people to destinations outside the places where they normally live and work, and their activities during the stay at each destination. It includes movements for all purposes. In 1981, the International Association of Scientific Experts in Tourism defined tourism in terms of particular activities chosen and undertaken outside the home. In 1994, the United Nations identified 3 forms of tourism in its recommendations on tourism statistics. Other groupings derived from the above grouping. The terms tourism and travel are sometimes used interchangeably. In this context, travel has a similar definition to tourism but implies a more purposeful journey. The terms tourism and tourist are sometimes used pejoratively, to imply a shallow interest in the cultures or locations visited. By contrast, traveler is often used as a sign of distinction. The sociology of tourism has studied the cultural values underpinning these distinctions and their implications for class relations. According to World Tourism Organization, a tourism product is a combination of tangible and intangible elements, such as natural, cultural and man-made resources, attractions, facilities, services and activities around a specific center of interest which represents the core of the destination marketing mix and creates an overall visitor experience including emotional aspects for the potential customers. A tourism product is priced and sold through distribution channels and it has a life cycle. Tourism product covers a wide variety of services including international tourism refers to tourism that crosses national borders. Globalization has made tourism a popular global leisure activity. The World Tourism Organization defines tourists as people traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for lays.